When you see an animal every single day, it's really difficult to determine whether or not they're growing, and I just feel like these pigs are not as big as they should be. But then when I kind of go back and think about the fact that when we brought them home, we fit all 6 of these into 2 dog kennels, and there is no way in the world that they would fit in those same dog kennels now, well, I guess I know they're growing. How'd you get over there? I don't think that's the best. Oh, wow. You're gonna make it work. Good for you. Pretty soon you'll be too big, that won't work anymore. We've got a lot of things to do today, so let's start doing them. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. Let's see. Do you have any eggs under there? All those chicks that we hatched out a few months ago are finally starting to lay some eggs, so I guess we're back in the egg business. The seemingly never-ending task of checking water continues, and normally I kind of gripe about it, but this week I'm actually feeling really thankful that I have water to check. Last week the pump broke. For those of you that don't know, a pump is made up of a motor that's above ground, and there's a long shaft that goes way down underground, and that's what drives the pump, which brings the water up, and that's how we get water in the pasture. Last week my shaft going down to the pump itself underground broke, and I did not have any water for a couple of days, and it was really kind of scary because you realize how vulnerable you are if you don't have water. Fortunately, I have a good pump guy, and he was able to cobble it back together. According to him, oh, Callie, watch out. According to him, it wasn't really a fix that he was proud of, but it got us going again. That was the main thing. So it's looking like I'm gonna have some big pump repairs come this winter. And while I'm out here checking water, it's always a good time to walk through the cows and see how they're all doing. And I just started thinking about the fact that you guys see me check cows a lot, but I don't know that I've really talked about the things that I'm looking for, or sort of the red flags that I might notice out there that might point to a bigger problem. So as we walk through the herd today, I'm gonna try to talk a little bit more about the things that I'm looking for. And I think this is gonna be Callie's first cow check on foot. So hopefully none of the calves chase after her, because she's kind of a scaredy cat, and I don't think she's gonna like that too much, but we'll just have to keep a close eye on her and make sure that everything's okay. Oops, I need to fix that. When did that happen? The first thing that I look for when I walk out into the field is, what are the cows doing? Now this kind of, I mean, I guess to somebody that doesn't raise cattle, it might sound kind of weird, but cattle really only do 3 different things. They're either up grazing, they're moving to either different pastures or water, or they're laying down, and that could be chewing their cud, just getting in the shade. But those are pretty much the only 3 things that they do. Right now, I would say that my cows are moving. I mean, a lot of them have their heads down eating as well, but they're all starting to congregate up in the shade because it's starting to warm up a little bit. So right now I would say that they are on the move. So what would I look for now? Well, the biggest red flag that you can spot is one cow that is not doing what the rest of the cows are doing. So if we have everybody up moving or grazing, and then I've got somebody laying down by herself off in the corner, that's a dead giveaway that there could be a problem. In fact, anytime that you have a cow that's off by herself, that's probably something that you want to go look at. Now, if you're like me and you have a small herd, you start to kind of know the individual personalities of each animal, and you will see that some cows just prefer to be alone, or I mean, not alone, but maybe a little bit further off of where the main herd is at. I've seen that happen. It's not real common, but a lot of times a cow that's off by herself is because she's lame, she's not feeling well, or she might even be going into labor. This time of year, that's not something I have to worry about because these cows have all calved now. But in the springtime, that's definitely something that I'd be looking for. If you spot a cow that's not really doing what the other ones are doing, the next thing that you would want to look at is her body language. The way that they hold their head can tell you a lot about how they feel, and the way that they hold their ears as well can tell you a lot. If you have a cow that's kind of hanging her head down low with droopy ears, she is telling you that she doesn't feel good. And the opposite is true as well. If she's got her head up and alert, her ears are perked up, that's a good indication that she probably feels fine. A little known fact about cows is that one of the best ways to determine how they're feeling and how they're doing is whether or not they're grooming themselves. If they groom themselves, that is basically their way of saying that every other need in my life is being met, so I may as well make myself look good. This red white-faced calf here has got his eye on Callie. He wants to figure out what she is. And she has figured this out, so she is staying right under my feet because she don't want nothing to do with him. What's up? So we're looking for any cows that are acting weird. We're looking for any cows that are showing us there's a problem with their body language. If we see cows grooming, that's a good sign. What are some of the other things that I would be checking on? The next big thing is probably body condition. That's just a good indicator of whether the cows are getting enough and the right quality of forage that they need right now. It's something that I want to watch closely because we have bulls out here. Hopefully everyone's bred by now, but if they weren't, inadequate nutrition might be part of the reason why they haven't started coming into heat again. Number 49 here should probably have the best body condition of the bunch because she does not have a calf dragging her down. If you guys remember, this is the cow that I pulled the calf on and it only survived for a day. Uh-oh, Callie. You better stay close. You better stay close. I don't think she likes you. Good lesson for her. Give these mamas some room because they can get grumpy. But like I was saying, she is the heifer that lost her calf. So she doesn't have anyone nursing on her. The only thing that she has to worry about and take care of is herself. So she should look the best. Actually, this guy right here might be the one that should look the best because he lives a pretty easy life. Well, everybody out here looks pretty good. That's always what we want to find. But I hope this gives you guys a little bit better idea of the things that I look for when I'm checking cows. They're all wet. All right, we're back here at the house now, and I think I need to go grab something to drink real quick. But then we're gonna jump in the truck and I need to get my chisel moved over to the hayfield. Okay, I can trust you to not chew on anything back here, right? Before I back the truck over to the chisel, I just remembered I need to get my special clevis hitch for this chisel. The tongue on that thing is so thick that it won't fit in a standard hitch, so I had to make one special for it so I can move it around with my pickup. There it is. So that shouldn't be that hard. All right, I believe we're ready to go. The only thing that keeps running through my head right now is it seems like the last time I pulled this chisel through this gate, it didn't quite fit. Well, I guess that's just what you got to do to get through this gate. Yeah, it's not ideal. If this thing was about 4 inches wider, I could make it. Be nice if it was about 4 feet wider, though. All right, let's hit the road. Look at that, Callie's not chewing on anything. That's always good. All right, well, that job is done. And I think my plan, this is kind of what I did last year, and I liked how it all worked out. But I did most of the groundwork at night. I think I almost did all of it at night. And the reason for that was just because it was a lot cooler and it didn't have the sun beating down on me. So yeah, I think that's probably what I'm gonna do again this year.
I think these pigs are ready for some mud. It looks awful dry in here, boys.
Well, I'll let that run for a little while, and while it's running, I can get started on the next job that I need to start doing today. The manure spreader. I got a good start on this a while ago, and I kind of have been putting it off just because it's one of those things where I know I'm not going to need it tomorrow, but eventually that won't be true anymore, and I will need it tomorrow. So I figure I better get going on this again. I've got some parts for it. But as I'm looking it over right now, since taking all of the shields off of the sides, I can see that there's a lot of grime and, well, I think we know what it probably is. But it needs to be pressure washed off of there because this thing's just a little bit too dirty to work on. And I just think it would be nicer if it was clean. So I think I'm gonna drag it outside and we'll get the pressure washer fired up and see if I can get this thing cleaned up a little bit better before I continue to take it apart and, I don't want to say restore it, but just kind of get it back into working condition. Okay, now the moment of truth is whether or not this pressure washer will start. I always kind of gripe about this thing, but you know, in reality, I bought it when I was 16 years old, which makes this over 20 years old now. And I don't think I've ever changed the oil in it. I replaced the spark plug once. So, I mean, if it doesn't start, I can't really be that mad, but I still get mad if it doesn't start. So anyway, let's crank it over and see what happens. Of course, make me look like an idiot. All right, that looks a little bit better now. So let's get this thing back in the shop so we can start working on it. I have most of everything taken apart on this side, but maybe the last main thing is this chain roller here. The top roller moves a little bit, but these other two are seized up. So I need to get this whole assembly off of here and take it apart and re-grease everything and hopefully get it turning again. The GoPro battery died, so it's a couple days later now, but I did get these rollers off of here. And now all that's really left to do is to disassemble it and try to get it moving again. I got my rollers taken apart now, and it looks like it's just sort of a pin that rolls on a brass bushing. It doesn't look like it's actually a bearing in there. So hopefully if I just spray some oil in there and kind of work it back and forth, it'll free it up a little bit. Except you can see where this was seized up for a while. There's a couple of grooves there from the chain just sliding on it. But we got it pretty freed up now, so hopefully that's no longer an issue. Oh, that will come out. Well, that's the way to do it. So when these were all bound up, I could not get these pins out of the center of the wheels, but once I got some oil in there, this thing slid out. So really, the right way to do this is to work a little bit of grease on there. That'll last a little bit longer than penetrating oil anyway. There we go. That's what we want. When you're working on an old project like this, sometimes it's hard to know where exactly to stop. Originally, my plan was just to take these rollers apart, get them spinning freely again, but as I'm looking at the rest of these parts, I just gotta hit them with the wire wheel and paint them up. I think I will do that before I start putting everything back together, but that is the last thing, at least on this side of the spreader, that I need to do before I can start putting all of this back together. So, I think we'll do that in the next video. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.